is episode number 13, Weekly Wrap number 13. I'm Adam, this is Jake, we're your hosts for the Weekly Wrap, and we've got some pretty cool topics to cover as normal. So the last 7 days have been pretty crazy. Jake, what are you going to cover today, mate?
I'm going to touch on just showing up. So I was able to be here today, which is nice. After 2 hours sleep, got through a workout and plenty more this morning. So that'll be my sort of starting topic.
Yep, fantastic.
We'll bounce off the other two, which was...
Yeah, the other two is eating out. That's a really important one. And the third topic...
doing what works for you.
Exactly.
I told you to write it down.
I should have written it down. Guys, you normally get the first take, so we're just going to keep that one in there as well. So that's my fault this time for not doing any dot points whatsoever. So...
You had sleep too.
Yeah, I've had a bit of sleep, so it's all good. So let's start like this. I'd say the last 2 weeks has been pretty chaotic. Obviously, you were study and trying to fit that in and work and myself, but and also study. I'm just doing my online certs, but training and food this last 7 days, if you can remember.
Yeah.
How's it been, buddy?
They've both been on point, but it has been a struggle. Like with uni and new job and everything going on, just lack of sleep pretty much, especially last night. But otherwise good. Yeah,
so what would you, for those out there that we always like with ratings, what would you rate it out of 10 with food first?
Food will be 9, and then training will be effort 10, but in terms of PBs and that, probably 9.
Yeah, fantastic.
What about you?
Yeah, well, macros
10 and 10.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement. That's what I always think. Mindset, eye on the prize as far as anything. I have not eaten anything away from what I should on my plan at all since prep started, and that was the 26th of March. So not one thing, not even nothing.
Yeah.
I've got caramello koalas in the freezer and my birthday cake, and it does talk to me on a number of occasions. I'm gonna have to remove it and put it somewhere that's not, especially when my food drops, because I just know that I think out of sight, out of mind as far as that. But food, spot on. I mean, there's always room for a little bit of improvement. I'm talking to the gram. I've been absolutely spot on with it, but maybe 9.9. 9.9 out of 10. It is just like, and I won't ever lie to myself as far as what I give my ratings. So there's always room for improvement. Hence 9.9. I've like last night, and this is obviously something that we'll touch on as well. I was so screwed after being in here all day yesterday, laying a floor. Would you believe it or not? I got my handyman skills out, and I've been painting. I've been laying a floor, but I went home, the last thing that was on my mind, honestly, was being able to do all my food prep, which, it's about an hour and 20 minutes worth, but I think, I don't have to worry about it all week. All I've got to worry about is breakfast when I get up, which is easy. I mean, who doesn't like making pancakes? It's very enjoyable. 4:15 in the morning. Yeah. Don't know about that though, but and then dinner, I really enjoy that. I actually like cooking that fresh, but the rest of the week I don't have to worry about now because I just stayed up, did what needed to be done and got through it, and it just definitely sets me up tenfold for the week. So food's been great. Training on the other hand, I mean, it's just, you know what we said when I first started prep was like, I bet you we're going to say this in another couple of weeks. It just goes to new levels again, but our body adapts, and I think we just keep pushing the boundaries that little bit more. I think I'm a little bit paranoid about an old just quad niggle, which is really doing my head in a little bit, but it's just something I've got to battle, and I will get through. I will 110% get through. Legs has been great. Deadlifts were awesome this morning, and as I said to Jake, I take my hat off to him for getting in on 2 hours sleep this morning, because he obviously starting off, he felt like absolute crap, but a few sets in, it was good. Definitely came good. So look, all in all, I have to step things up, and there is no excuse for me. So I'd say 9.5. There's just a couple of things there. I was disappointed strength-wise because when one exercise goes up, it can hinder your next one, and yeah, we're pretty hard on ourselves as far as that. So 9.5 out of 10 with my training.
Yeah.
So
You just have a look at your stories. I just flick through our stories and it's like squats, deadlifts, remaining deadlifts.
Ask Jake.
Deadlifts.
Next time you see Jake, ask him about RDLs. It's remaining deadlifts, it's just it's been an eye opener to see what we can do mentally next level when you just see something on paper and you know you got to hit it. No questions asked, you just do it.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's it. So it sort of touches on just showing up anyway. But yeah, like this morning, definitely didn't feel like wanting to show up, but had to be there for you, give you a push, and then once you get into it, wasn't too bad. But I'm just stoked I actually got it done, because it would have been worse if I just laid in bed and I should have done that, and then I had to finish my assignment after that. Did my meal prep, went shopping, smashed out 2 podcasts in the meantime, had my headphones in the whole time, and now we're doing a weekly wrap.
It was a hard one trying to coordinate times for it, but you know, it's funny you touched on the subject as far as showing up, because the people use lack of sleep, people use I don't feel like it, people not enough time. At the end of the day, those people who get to where they want to be and effectively and keep it are the ones that don't make excuses and always find a way to deal with a certain situation. And I was actually just saying this to a few of my crew in a video this morning, is that if I went by feel as far as how I felt and if I went to the gym and trained when I actually felt like I wanted to, I'd probably go once or twice a week or once or twice a fortnight. And that is the honest truth. Like, we all battle it, and you've got to also understand, on social media, all you're seeing is the highlight reel. I mean, again, we like to definitely put things in there as far as, I mean, we don't want to be on a Debbie Downer all the time saying, oh, it's hard and blah, blah. Like, we want to motivate you guys, but it's tough. Whether you're trying to drop 5 or 10 kilos and you've just started for the first time, to what we're doing now, taking it next level, it doesn't matter. It's tough, it's difficult. You're going to get those days where you don't feel like doing it. You're going to get the days when you're flat and unmotivated. And, you know, as Jake did this morning, you've just got to get in there and do it, because the thing you've also got to think of is that the moment you press that snooze button or you have that session off, the people that you're aspiring to or wanting to look like, or vicariously, guaranteed they've gone through it all before, but the only difference between them and you is they're up and training. They're not making excuses. They're showing up and they get the job done. Yeah.
And you can't be wearing walk the talk shirt and then not rocking up. But the best thing I take away from it too is it was super hard, but tomorrow's going to be easy. Got some sleep under my belt, and if I compare it to comp prep or some other like circumstance, it was easy sort of thing. Comp prep was that times I was hungry and didn't sleep, but
you really know what hard is when you go through that particular period. For me, for the next few months, it's going to be okay, but that's obviously going to be something I'm going to be dealing with tenfold. But again, it's just showing up those times. I mean, not every single session you're going to be putting 150% into. There's going to be those times where it's flat, but you'll never walk out going, I wish I didn't train. I mean, we've never done that in the whole history of. You might go, it was a bit of a half-assed session, or it didn't have the energy, but you always feel good after it. So that's definitely something you guys need to take into consideration as far as mindset. The other thing too is that it becomes habit that way as well, rather than you going, I'm feeling tired and flat, I'm just going to have a day off. It's like, you know what, this is pretty common, I'm feeling like this, and you get in routine, and you're in autopilot and you get it done.
Even the effort side of things, so if I keep the effort at 100%, which I can honestly say I have training with you, that becomes a habit, but your performance varies depending on how your body actually is handling it all. But my effort is always 100%. It doesn't matter how I feel, but my performance was probably a little bit lower today because of the lack of sleep, but effort was definitely there.
10 out of 10, absolutely. Definitely. So I think that's just something important that you guys need to keep in the back of your mind, especially when you're tired, you're flat, you're unmotivated, or just think straight back to what you want out of this whole journey. I mean, the problem is people ingrain these patterns. They'll go hard for 4 weeks, then it gets tough, then they'll stop. I mean, you got some people that we've been dealing with that have been doing it over an 8, 10 week or a lifetime period. So if you want to get a different result, you can't keep doing the same thing. You got to have a different approach and mindset to it all, and you've just got to do it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a whole thing as far as what our brand stands for, is walk the talk. Doesn't matter what you say or what you're gonna do this, gonna do that. It's the actions do all the talking, and your body is a reflection on the hard work you're putting in.
Yeah.
So excuses only go so far.
Yeah. Touching on eating out and just making wise choices and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, this is something, eating out especially, is something that, it's a question that comes across on a very regular basis, whether it be with our mentees to people just in general asking, what you should advise when eating out, because honestly, this can be the breaking point for every single person through a 2-hour window, or if not less, in a whole week period. So by that I mean is you've got to be very, very conscious in that window of opportunity, or that time frame that you've set aside or allocated for a cheat meal, because again, we speak big time from experience on the stuff ups we've done through the cheat meal side of things, to how to properly make conscious choices as far as cheat meals are concerned. So I know we've touched on this some time ago, but Jake, take me through what used to happen for you when you were like, nah, everything was perfect all week. Your food, your training was to the gram, was on song, he was perfect. But he also knew that, you had this sort of 2-hour window.
Cheat meal on my plan. So my cheat meal was Macca's run whilst I ordered Indian, and then I would have...
What'd you have at Macca's?
I think I just had 2 cheeseburgers. Wasn't too great.
Yeah,
okay. McFlurry or something.
Just an entree. So 2 cheeseburgers and McFlurry, and then he's ordering Indian. So what'd you have in Indian?
It's always
naan bread as well.
Yeah, naan bread.
Yep.
And then butter chicken.
Always.
Yep. From I won't say where, but yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. Anyway, and then
dessert was usually probably another McFlurry or something stupid. But worked out I was eating about 5,000 to 7,000 calories in a sitting.
So 5,000 to 7,000 calories.
Which then was sort of 2.5 days worth of food for me.
So see what I mean? As far as like, it would normally take, it would have taken us through that period up till Thursday before we experienced a weight drop, and it was like a 24-hour window of gains.
Yeah.
From a 2-hour sitting, pretty much. My cheat meal used to be 3 bacon egg McMuffins, 1 sausage and egg McMuffin, 2 hash browns. While I was going through drive-through, picking that up and eating it while I was driving, I ordered a large garlic pizza, a large meat lovers. Then I had half a tub of connoisseur ice cream for dessert, 4 Krispy Kremes, and and a caramello block of chocolate.
Yeah.
So I was hitting probably around the 7,000 to 7,500 calories in less than a 2-hour sitting. So for those out there that are thinking cheat meals or KFC or what, pizza plus alcohol. Now, think of us being on relatively high food as far as the normal person at that stage. Still in prep and depletion phase. Food was still very high.
Yeah.
The normal person that thinks, no, but Jake, 95% of the time all week, my training, my food, I've earned this cheat meal. And their food's pretty low because obviously the majority of people are either severely under eating or struggling to hit their macros as is when we're first dealing with them. So these people, and this answers a lot of questions as far as why it's 2 steps forward and 1 7/8 back, is that they have the mentality where, you know, you have that 90-10 rule or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it can undo all the hard work that you've done in a 2-hour sitting the whole entire week.
Yeah, as we've experienced.
So that's the way that we highly advise not to do. unless you want like a day of progress, if that,
Yeah.
maybe a 12-hour window of progress, because you're basically making up for all the excess calories, and
Yeah.
and if you don't think that you can put on a couple of kilos of body fat in a very, very, very short period of time, think again. We're here. We speak from experience as far as that. So where we're going with that is that the major question that comes through as far as conscious choices and eating out. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can work around this as well, because everyone's going to have events, everyone's going to have social outings, etc. And the last thing you want is to not go because, you know, I've got to hit my macros. Well, you're not in comp prep, so there's definitely always ways around it. So Jake, take me through what your conscious choice as far as a cheat meal is these days, and little methods that you use to make sure that you've got you can make the most of it.
Yep. So you can manipulate macros, as you talked about. But I'll talk about what I did last Thursday night. Went out for dinner, and it was just the choices that I made, because it could have been a disaster. But I had calamari for my entree, fresh calamari.
Yep.
And then for dinner I had beef cheeks with salad. And then for dessert I had half a brownie with half the brownie. And that pretty much, I dropped carbs for one of my last meals for the day, and weighed in this week I've dropped weight and my measurements have tightened up.
So there you go.
That's my choice now compared to what it used to be, and I can actually make some progress now, even when my food's so high as well. I'm still seeing little drops, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
I think that, I mean, potato wedges and sour cream and all that, like I used to knock off a whole bowl of those, then I'd go to garlic bread, and then I'd have chips or some sort of like rice and everything in with that, and maybe something fried, and then I'd go on to dessert, and that's when you just know you're eating till you're pretty much about to explode. And so just understand, especially for those who are counting macros, macro counting or flexible dieting allows you to look at food and have an understanding of what it roughly is.
Yeah.
So with your knowledge and understanding that way, you can make conscious choices as far as your sides of salad, or making sure your entrees aren't overly fried or carb dominant, and desserts. Just, obviously there's a bucket of ice cream and there's a serving of ice cream sort of thing as well. So you can always make conscious decisions that way. And the other thing too, like Jake said, is that I like to teach people, especially if they are really low macros or really low calories, is that you can have like brekkie normal meal. Make sure you have sometimes I always advise like a high rep training day as well, just to deplete the fuel out of your body. And you can drop your carbs and your fats for the majority of your meals through the day, so that you've got a little bit to work with for that evening meal as well. Just so you're not eating everything that you should. This is a big mistake that I made as well, is I used to eat all the meals that I should, then I had my cheat meal, rather than backing off my calories for the whole day, or even the day before. So there's definitely some good strategies as far as that's concerned, and I think when you know how hard you've got to work to get it all back off again, you definitely think twice every time, and you know you've got to answer to the tape measure and the scales. It definitely makes you a little bit more strategic about eating out and making conscious decisions, and making a little bit more room for a couple of beers and everything like that too. So
that's it.
Yeah, we did do a couple of videos, I'm pretty sure, quite some time ago on counting alcohol calories, but we can also get
that's
back
for
into
the Australia Day one you did.
Yes.
So that's on the website, on YouTube.
YouTube, yep. So definitely have a look back on that if you haven't seen that one before. All right, doing what works for you. I think this is a subject that I wanted to cover today. Why? Is because sometimes 5 meals a day doesn't work for someone.
Yep.
Sometimes morning training doesn't work for someone. Sometimes prepping the meals doesn't work for someone. They'd rather eat it fresh because they enjoy it fresh, or they've got a little bit more time or they're at home. So just because someone does it this way doesn't mean it's not going to work another way. And everyone's lifestyle is different. Some people have got families, some people have got kids, some don't. Some people work at night time, some people don't. So you've just got to, there's no one set rule with that. I mean, everything within reason, but doing what works for you creates and enables that word once again called consistency. So there's no use following this U-Butte food plan or training structure when you can't keep consistent with it. So what you've got to do is you've got to find out what is going to work for you and your lifestyle so that you can create consistency. It's the same with going all fancy with your recipe ideas and everything like that, but knowing that you've got to do this indefinitely for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Is that going to be sustainable? So is it easy for you because you just enjoy eating plain and simple, going bro foods and keeping it nice and simple there? So Jake, you know, first of all, what's your thoughts and opinions?
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, the way you do things is so much different to the way I do things with meal prep and stuff like that. So you meal prep on a Sunday, do your week's meals, and your meals are a lot different to mine. I do mine for every couple of days, but I just cook up my meats, my rice, and then every morning I'm just dishing it out, weighing it up, and doing it that way. So that suits me. And then also with my new job now, I can't eat at 10 and 3 and then 6 and 8 like I used to. So it's 2 meals at 12 now instead.
Yep.
So a bigger portion at 12 because I don't get that morning tea. So you need to have something that obviously suits what you're doing, and 5 or 6 meals might not suit everyone. So I'm back at sort of 4 to 5 meals now. And yeah, it's because I'm flexible dieting as well that I can manipulate things and make it work for whatever I'm doing, which is why flexible dieting is so awesome as well.
Yeah, I think Jake hit the nail on the head as far as doing, you know, with the food prep side of things as well, because there's too many people that are going, no, but I've been told I've got to hit this and it's borderline impossible. And you sit them down and ask them, you know, out of 10, how's their food? And they're like, oh, I haven't had time and I skipped this meal. And the inconsistency of it all is probably the biggest factor that people have got to take on board. So there's going to be only some people due to work commitments, just like Jake said, that are only going to be able to eat 3 meals a day. So if you know that you can be consistent with eating those 3 meals a day and doing your 3 to 4 days a week of training or whatever you've allocated each day, that is a huge step forward rather than getting this out of the box training program and meal prep plan that is not going to work for you and your lifestyle. So if this is the case, I think with science and the findings as far as, you know, is 3 meals a day optimal, is 5 meals a day optimal, I think plain and simple in summary, the body likes consistency. And too often I'm seeing people who are apparently clean eating or, you know, following some plan, and it's so off. Like one day they will be severely over, the next day they're ridiculously under, the next day they're ridiculously under, the next day they're just even. It's just, you need to find consistency within your eating patterns and your training program. That is hands down the key to it all, because then once things are nice and consistent and you're like, great, I found an approach that really works for me and my lifestyle, that's when you can start making some adjustments to your program as far as whether it be the food, whether it be increasing or decreasing exercise volume or cardio. So for those of you that are out there that are stuck on finding an approach that works, find out what works for you with your meal patterns and what you're eating consistently. Find out what allocated days or times or mornings or evenings that you can train. Stick with it, be consistent with it, and then obviously monitor. We always go by hips, waist and weight. You can monitor that side of things, and then obviously there's changes that you can make from there. You know, everyone's different as far as what works for them and how their bodies best respond. But consistency overall, from the thousands of people that we've dealt with over the many years, is the biggest factor that I find that is inhibiting their ability to be able to get to where they want to be. So,
because ideally you make adjustments every week for nutrition, then every couple of weeks for training. But if you're not consistent over that week, we can't make adjustments. If it's all over the shop, we just need to work on consistency so that we can tweak it each week and make improvements. So
it's so true. And then this is where grinding it out comes into it, because you're dealing with people that really want to get to where they want to be, but they're not willing to do the hard yards. They're not really willing to execute on knowing that, do their actions meet their expectations? And if you really sit down and ask yourself those questions, you can never lie to yourself. And there is a reason why you're struggling to get to where you want to be, but it's being able to have a self-analysis, as Jake has said on many occasions before, and sit down and evaluate and do the changes and make the adjustments that you need to do to get to where you want to be. And guys, if it comes down to an educational side of things, I mean, that's what we're here for. I hope a lot of the topics that we do cover, you guys can relate to a lot. But if you do want to get in contact with us, so email address, Jake, what's the best email for us?
Just Walk the Talk Legacy, so WTTL.
WTTlegacy@gmail.com. 2 hours sleep. 2 hours sleep.
I'm going alright. I'm really late.
Yeah, he's done. Instagram, it's just @Walk the Talk Legacy, so you can send us a message through there. Facebook, you can just search Walk the Talk Legacy. Website, walkthetalk.fitness, but all the links are underneath. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can have access there. So if there's something that you really want to know, or there's some questions you want us to cover, or you just need help and guidance, that's what we're here for. That's the whole reason for this brand. We love what we do, and the whole reason for our journey and the Walk the Talk Legacy brand is to be able to reach out there to you guys, so that we can provide you with the tools and education, so that you don't have to make the years and years of stuff ups that we've been able to make constantly over the years as well. So don't be a stranger, and there's no question that we probably haven't heard either. So
yeah, that's it.
All good. Well, I hope you enjoyed the weekly wrap number 13, and Jake will be well rested before episode 14, and we're pretty proud of sticking and being constant with them. We may be a bit day late with this one, but we got it in there, and we got a few important topics off our chest.
Yep, awesome. Thanks guys. See you later.